The initial setup came off an arm drag. Now, when most people go for an arm drag, if I'm going to arm drag on Bernardo's right arm, I fall to my right hip and I try to go in and take his back. What I did was I used the initial arm drag to set up exposure on the opposite side arm by falling to the opposite hip. So instead of falling to my right hip, I went into a drag and I started pulling Gaeshi on top of me in this direction. Then as he went to go post to my shoulder and posture up, I pulled my, on the shoulder here, I pulled my right knee into my chest and I put his hand on the floor above my head. And that exposed his arm. Now I came through and I went elbow deep on his shoulder like so. The key is to make sure that his head stays next to mine and not over mine. If Bernardo is able to take his head on top of my head, he can easily pull his elbow free and then the arm comes out. So I want to make sure that my elbow stays pointing up towards the ceiling and not parallel to the floor. If my form is parallel to the floor, he can easily take his elbow out by taking his head up, and now he's gone. So I make sure that my elbow stays up, pointed towards the ceiling, and my shoulder is glued to my partner's armpit. Now when he goes to take his elbow free, it's very, very difficult. Now I go in and I lock my hands together. Now I started lifting out to my left side. As Gaeshi went to go push back into me, we have a strong pushback reaction where we can start lifting over my right shoulder. Now the issue is, if I start lifting with my left elbow and I compromise my right elbow positioning, he'll be able to pull the elbow free. While it is true that I do use my left hand and left elbow to guide his head over to this side, I have to make sure that I stay with a high right elbow. If my right elbow sags down too low, Bernardo will always be able to base his left arm out on the floor, and now he can take his head over my head, and he can easily pull the elbow back inside, and now he's free. So I want to make sure that as I go to take him up and over, I have a high right elbow. So when Bernardo goes to base out with his left hand, it's very, very difficult. When he goes to take his elbow out, it's also very difficult. And now they can easily take him up and over into a mounted position where we can go in and get a full sweep and preferably a mount. So the initial setup was I went into an arm drag, and instead of going across to the typical hip, which is the right hip, I fell across down to the left hip. So as he went to go post to my shoulder, I pulled him further than he wanted to, and I went in elbow deep with my right hand. Now, the whole thing is to make sure that his head stays next to mine, not on top of mine. So I lock my hands, and I keep a high right elbow. When Bernardo goes to pull his elbow free, it's very, very difficult. As I start lifting to my left, he pushes back into me, and that makes it easy now for me to start lifting over to my right. When Bernardo goes to post his left hand, I make sure that I keep my right elbow nice and high. So that as he goes to post out with the hand now, it's very, very easy to take him up and over, and now we go into positions where we can go into attacks from top position.
So one more time, Vernon. So first you go for the arm drag, then I defend placing my hand, you force me to place my hand on the ground, and now I love this detail that you use here, that I have the sense that I could go and post my hand over here, but then and now look guys, I cannot place my hand anywhere over there that would actually give me a base. Then just keep going